Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Jennifer and I'm really excited because this is my very first video and I have created this channel as a way to document my journey into birth work and to kind of bridge my love for all things witchy into being a birth witch. So I am a doula in training. I am about halfway through my certification. I come to you with a grain of what the hell do I know anyway, because I'm not completely educated, but I have given birth to 3 children and I have attended 3 other births, so I do know some things, and I have been obsessed with birth pretty much for as long as I can remember, and I have just consumed hours and hours and hours and years probably of birth stories and education just that I've done on my own. So I do think that I know a little bit. But as I'm going through my training, I've come up against a lot of surprises, I guess. So today I want to share something a bit personal about why I decided to go into this work in the first place, and why I decided to embark on this journey of becoming a doula. And then eventually my plan is to become a midwife, which we'll get into that a little bit later. But I'm about halfway through my training and I'm learning so much, but I have started to realize that this path isn't going to be as straightforward as I thought it was. I kind of thought, okay, I learn everything, and then I start attending births and I get to do what I love. But the education side of things has made me realize that I don't agree with the medicalization of birth. I don't believe in society taking birth away from women and turning it into a medical emergency when it doesn't need to be. And I think I've just come to realize there's just so much about birth that goes beyond support, beyond physical, emotional, spiritual support, which is, for those of you who don't know, what a doula is hired for. And it's more about empowering women to know their choices, not only know their choices, but to enact them and to demand them and to advocate for themselves. And when they can't, I would be doing that for them. And there's a lot of trains of thought about what that means, especially the advocating part. I want to say something and I want to change the way things are happening. I'm getting off topic. As I'm going through my training, I'm realizing so many problems with the way birth is handled, and there's a really big part of me that wants to give it up because I don't know how to fight against these kinds of things, and who's going to listen to me. But on the other hand, I can't change things if I'm not there. So if I can be there and show up in the way that I want to show up and fight for what I believe in, and maybe make these videos and share content so that other people can become educated about it as well. You know, even if I even just help one woman birth in empowerment and not in abuse or violence, I think I've done a good job. So I really just want women to be able to feel empowered, to know their body, to trust themselves, to move instinctually through a process that is so natural. And more often than not, we're told that we are a complication, that our bodies are a complication, that we can't do it. And we can. Even when I was 19 and I had my first child, technically everything went fine. I had a hospital birth with an epidural and it went well. She was born, she was healthy, I was fine. But even at 19, I didn't know anything about birth, really, other than watching, a birth story on TLC or whatever. But I instinctually knew that it wasn't okay, that it didn't go well, and I couldn't put my finger on it. I didn't have the language for it. But now I know that I hadn't learned, I hadn't been taught ways any ways to cope with pain. And it was just a really common thing then to just be like, you just get an epidural, and it's still a common thing. It's not, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I understand, I've had 2 epidurals and 1 C-section. So like, I'm not against epidurals. I'm just against the lack of education that comes along with them. And I just pushed, on my back for 4 hours, and it was really hard. And yeah, childbirth is hard. Of course it is, of course. But I just didn't have any real support. I didn't know what I was doing. And when I look back, I didn't feel okay. Even postpartum, I had people grabbing at me and laughing. And during my labor, I had people laughing in the doorway or talking about what they're going to do on the weekend. And I just felt like it didn't matter. And then with my second child, I had planned a home birth with a midwife, and it was going really well. And then she asked me if I wanted her to break my water, and I said yes, because I was so excited. And she broke my water, and there was meconium, and she said, immediately, we have to transfer to the hospital. And we did, and it brought me out of my zone, and it was traumatic. And then I had to, because she wasn't ready. She wasn't ready to come out, and my waters broke. So she was coming at a weird position. It was excruciating. The transfer to the hospital was a nightmare. I got an epidural. They said she needs to come out now, and they pulled her out with a vacuum. And everything that I had learned and everything that I prepared for, they were like, no, don't push like that, push like this, don't do that. And I just felt like I knew what to do to get my baby out. And I felt so deep in my heart that it wasn't an emergency, but it was made into one. And I just truly believe that if I had not gotten my waters broke, I wouldn't have ended up in the hospital. And I wish that someone would have told me that I wish someone would have told me not to do that. That all these ways of inducing labor and trying to change what's going to happen eventually anyways, it impacts your experience. And if your baby's not ready to come out, it's not ready to come out. Anyways, I'm getting off track. My third baby was born by a C-section. She was breech. And there's only one doctor in my area who will perform a breech vaginal birth, sorry. But to get in with them, I would have to go to the next town over, and when I'm in labor, and then go to that hospital, and then just hope that they are on that day. And there was just no guarantee that would happen. So I couldn't even try for vaginal birth. It turned out that she had a really short cord, and it was wrapped around her neck a couple of times, which normally isn't something to worry about, but because she was breached, they couldn't turn her, and she probably would have actually had a hard time coming out. But the C-section was, again, really kind of traumatic, and it was planned, and there's just so many things that I wish that I'd known that I didn't. So that's why I want to do this. That's why I want to make these videos. That's why I want to become a doula, why I want to become a midwife. I just want to do things differently, and I want people to have different experiences than me, because it just doesn't have to be like that. Now, I do want to be clear. My medical providers were wonderful. My OB, I love her. My midwives were great. And I don't blame them for my experiences, because they are bound by licensing and regulations, and they have to do what the government or whoever makes up these rules says to keep their license. So, like, I get it. I do. The problem is bigger than the individual providers. It is the system that needs to change. And I mean, the truth is that women often leave their births feeling not good about it. And I can't remember what the exact numbers are, but a lot of them are unhappy with the way their birth went, and it's not because of the things that happened in their birth. It wasn't because they had an epidural, because they had a C-section, or because whatever. It's a lot of times because of the way they felt they were treated. And I mean, they're women in labor, they're women giving birth, they should be treated really well. And that's not how we feel most of the time. I'm gonna put this down because it's too delicious, and I keep drinking it, and it's not a good idea. So yeah, as I continue my training, I know that I don't want to be a passive advocate. I don't want to just tell my clients that they're doing a good job. I want to stand up for them, and that is what I plan to do. And I think I'm probably going to get a little bit of flack for that, but I don't think I care. I want to be a voice that stands up for women and stands up against the coercion and the abuse that happens to them, because birth isn't something that should be dictated by fear-based decisions. It's a natural process that should be respected. And I guess it's not surprising that I feel this way. I mean, it shouldn't be, because this is kind of how I live my life, in a more, natural, holistic way. But I wasn't expecting to feel this strongly about it. And now that I do, it's just kind of changed my path a little. So my goal is to, eventually become a midwife, and in the meantime to support births as a doula. And I want to do that so I can not only support women through birth, but to empower and advocate for them in a way that they deserve, and in a way that honors their choices. So that's where I am now. I am halfway through my doula training, and I've just got this big fire in my heart about how I can make a difference. And I hope that by sharing my stories and my thoughts, that I can inspire others to reflect on their own birth experiences and join me in advocating for change. If this resonates with you, or if you've had similar experiences, please reach out to me. Put your thoughts down in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going together, because I think really we can do something great. Thank you for watching, and if you want to follow me on this journey through birth work and beyond, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, because then you'll get notified when I'm back. I'm hoping to post semi-bi-weekly. I don't know, I'm quite busy. I have 3 kids, a business, school. It's a lot, but I really want to be here, and I really want to talk to you guys. So send me some comments and let me know what you think. Bye.